Hello, good afternoon, guys. Welcome to another segment of the Immigrant Mom. This is Estelle. I'm so excited to be here today because we have a good guest. There's no better way I can say it. So we're just going to give it some more time, like we always do, for people to join in. All right. Let me know once you join that you are here so I can acknowledge you. We're giving it 5 minutes so people can join. I should share on my page. I'm a strong, badass chick with classic competence. Hello. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the Immigrant Mom I Am Power series. This is Estelle. We're just giving more time so people can join us before we get into what I have prepared for us today. I'm trying to share on my page so I can get everyone on board. You ain't know Texas women do it bigger. In the South, it gets no redder, baby. Yeah, people are trickling in. Thank you for joining. Let me know where you're watching from. Just drop your name. Tell me where you're watching from. Say hello so I can acknowledge you. Yeah, if you get the feedback, that's because I'm trying to share on my page. So it should be gone in a few. Trickling in. Thank you for. This auto captions are really funny. I'm saying some people are trickling in, and the captions are saying Democrats something like, who said Democrats? I said people are trickling in, but the caption is capturing Democrats. Everything these days is political, but not here. Here we're gonna talk about life. We're gonna talk about stories, things that are applicable to everyone, sharing from the heart. We're giving it a couple more minutes, 3 more minutes so people can join in. Once you join, you do well to share because we want as many people that could be on today so that we can have a good conversation. So we're actually going to start with a game today. There's money on the table. In this time, $25 will mean a lot. So please join in. Let's play this game and win some money. All right. 2 more minutes and we'll get started. Oh, don't forget to say hi. I want to say hi. Let me know. Drop your name, your comment, so I can see. Hi, precious. You're the first hello I'm getting today. You know what that means, champ? That means a whole lot. Thank you so much. Thank you. You stayed up this late just to watch and participate in what we have today. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Who else is here? Say hi so I can acknowledge you. Good job, precious. All the way from you see in Lagos or Abuja. I didn't even ask, but I know you're watching from Nigeria. Thank you so much. Go ahead and share on your page so more people can join us. We have 1 more minute and we'll get into it. Just for me, let's go to safety. You have to say that. I just there's everyone on Thursday. Supposed to be, doing well. It's Thursday. It's almost Friday. It's almost weekend where we're going to be celebrating and staying off and everything. So, but whenever people join, so carry on from where we start. We have to respect everyone's time, so we'll get started once we reach 5:05. Okay? Once you join, say hi. I want to know that you're here. I don't want no final viewers. I want to know who is in the house. So we can all acknowledge you, right? And thank you for joining us. It's 5:05.
life and as a tradition, we have to carry on. Hi everyone, welcome to the Immigrant Mom. I am Sandra Kemayou. This is a series that we have every second Thursday. So we have this, twice in a month. And it's a platform where, we come together as immigrant mothers, as immigrant parents to learn about what it means to be an immigrant and also a parent raising up children in a culture that we do not grow up in. We have this platform because we know there are a lot of things out there that we can learn from. There are a lot of experiences out there that we're each having that we could share and encourage someone else. Because someone is just looking to see that if Excel can do it, then that means I can do it too. Or if Sarah can do it, then I can do it too. If Precious can do it, there are people who are looking and about to make a decision to come over to, maybe the US or move over to Europe, and they want to know what it feels like to raise children in a different culture, and this platform is what it is. So without further ado, I wanted to just, recap about what we had last week. We had a great, phenomenal woman on our platform 2 weeks ago, and that was Miriam. And just an echo in the background. Anyone else can hear the echo, or it's just, hey, Precious, let me know, do you hear an echo? I'm not sure why. Interesting problem. All right, let me try to fix it and see what's going on. Okay.
Guys, give me 1 second. Let me try to sort out what is going on with the sound. It's good now? Okay. All right. Awesome. I don't know what happened. Thank God it got fixed. Anyway, Sandra, it's good now. Okay, great. All right. So I was saying I lost my train of thought. What was I even talking about? I completely lost my train of thought right there. These technical issues can throw you off. But anyways, I was saying thank you. Thank you, Precious.
I was talking about, the importance of what we do, immigrant mom as an organization to help and build us up. Okay, I remember what I was talking about. The recap from last week. Lilian was on here, a phenomenal woman, and she was talking to us about Matthew and how they help students prepare them for college, give the material that they need, also prepare the parents so they can know better what to do for their children. It was a great session. If you missed it, check on the Immigrant Mom page. The video is on there. You can also join the Immigrant Mom group. Someone else says that's an echo. This has to do with, I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure what is going on. So let's do an echo. Let me know if there's still an echo. If you could still get it. We may have to.
Okay, maybe this is on in 2 places. Not really. It's not. All right. Is it good now? All right. We're just gonna carry on.
I'm not sure why, we're having all this. It could be the internet, it could be the company, but hopefully we can drive through this. It's better now. Okay. Anyway, like again, we wanted to play. Hopefully we can get into the mood of it. We can get into the mood of the game and meet everything that's going on. So, for you to win the game, what's the price? The price is $25, and we're going to announce the winner at the end of the show. So stick around to know whether you won. I'm putting up a picture, right? And I need you to tell me exactly what year that picture was taken. This is Thursday, and it's Throwback Thursday. I need you to tell me. Hi, Willow. Thank you for joining. I need you to tell me what year that picture was taken. If the person that would tell me what year it was taken, the closer would win. I'm looking at this better than all right, so the person that could tell me the year would get a prize. All right, but before, one of the conditions of winning it is you have to like our Immigrant Mom page on Facebook, and you have to like our page on our Instagram page. So go ahead and do that while I put up a picture. And and it's a key. All right, here's a picture of the girl some years ago. Put in the comment section what year you think this picture was taken. I'm not going to say how old I was because, that's going to be a very difficult guess for people. But if you can guess what year this picture was taken,
you're going to win $25. And we'll announce the winner at the end. So please go ahead and put in your comments. It's okay now. All right. No, I don't have it plugged in. Or I should move my phone away, maybe. I don't even need the phone. Okay, maybe let's see if it's good now. All right, okay. So guys, go ahead and put in your comments. What year was this picture taken? Let's give it a couple more minutes so people can get their guesses in. The best or the closest to the year would get $25. Would send that to you. Sure. All right, thank you. Great, great, great. I'll probably just minimize this somewhere so people can keep getting their answers as we move throughout the program. Okay. Anyways, today, guys, we have a phenomenal woman. I have made a post about this a couple times because she's someone that I really admire. And she came highly recommended. I know her personally, but someone else sent in a recommendation like we have asked that people can recommend who you would want to have on the show. What would you want to know from them? And someone highly recommended Sandra, who is here with us today. And so before I bring her on, I was going to read her bio, but I just turned off my phone so we don't have any echoes. So let me pull it up. Or maybe we just have her tell us about herself. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be awesome? But let me see. Let me pull up this. Okay. Give us a second. Was trying to. Oh, right there. Hey. All right, finally. Hi, Sandra. You're on mute, though. You're on mute. We can't hear you. I'm trying to get your slideshow and everything, but for whatever reason, it's not popping up. So
you had a slideshow?
I have one. I was trying to get all fancy. You can't blame the girl.
That's amazing. Well, hello. Hi, everybody. I know we have some people watching. So hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi, Sandra. Thank you so much for joining. I was going to read your bio. We're trying to make the best out of the situation. Well, the slideshow is on there. People can see your beautiful pictures, the amazing woman that you are. I hope you can see it as well. I was going to tell them, you're an award-winning coach, but I'll just let you do the introduction. Like, who is Sandra?
Oh, man. Okay. Well, first of all, that's so nice and sweet. I don't think anybody has ever made me a slideshow. So that's really nice. So I'm a mom. I have 3 boys, married to the love of my life. We've been married 12 years. And I'm an author, business coach, and I spend my days helping experts turn their expertise into thriving coaching businesses. So that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Well, that's in a nutshell. Why we're going to go deeper into that. We're going to crack that nutshell today and get deeper into it. But thank you so much for taking our time to encourage to be with us here, to share your story. And people want to know. We see these beautiful pictures. We see you in all your glam and style, but we also know that you're an immigrant, and we know that, there's the immigrant story. And that's what we really want to get into today. What's your immigrant story? When did you move here? How old were you? Where did you move from?
So I'm originally from Cameroon, 37 in the house. I grew up in Douala. I'm Bamileke, grew up in Douala, Study specifically. I moved to the US when I was 16 years old. And I did 11th and 12th grade in the US before going to college. And it was an absolute culture shock. I was ready to go back home. Like, I was like, I can't. This is what's going on. It was literally like if you had dropped me in another planet. That's how strange America was to me when I first moved. So yeah.
Why America? What was the pull factor at that time? Why not France, maybe? Or
yeah, no, my sister was here and my uncle lived here too. So I was like, okay, we have family here. Let's go.
Okay. And I had a conversation with you a couple years ago where you said when you moved to America, you could not speak English.
No. Nope.
Tell me about it.
I couldn't
believe, listening to how fluent you are, you're an author. You could not speak English.
Nope. I couldn't. I'm a French speaker. I went to school. I mean, we speak French. That's what we did. I think I had an English class, but the English classes were where like you don't pay attention. Like literally was the only grade that my dad would be like, okay, I don't speak English either. That's okay if you had bad grades. So I knew how to say, like I knew how to count till 10. And then I knew how to say like, good morning. That was it. That was the extent of the English I knew when I came to the US. And so that was part of the shock because I like to talk, I'm friendly, and suddenly I can't communicate. Right. So you can't communicate when like literally my whole childhood, I got in trouble for talking too much. And I would get written out in school because I was always talking. And in my school, you had like the head of the class and he would be the one writing people's name down. And sometimes he would just recycle his list. And my name would be, I'm like, I wasn't even in school that day. And my name is like, Sandra has to be talking. So I just put her name by default. And then moving to the US where literally I'm like a mute because I don't know what they're saying. And B, I definitely don't know how to communicate.
Right.
That was a shock.
You were 16.
Yeah.
That's at a time when a little girl is trying to understand who she is and what her voice is. What did this mean for the 16-year-old Sandra not being able to speak English in an English spoken predominant country?
It was really shocking. And I think looking back, it helped me become very observant, right? Because I didn't have a choice. I had to observe and I had to also read between the lines because I couldn't always understand the words. So I had to learn how to piece things together because like if somebody said three sentences, I may hear like 3 words. And so I had to then use other clues to understand what it is that they were trying to say. Right. And so that's one thing that I was able to get out of it. But that's looking back. At that moment, it meant not being asked to go to the prom.
Oh, wow.
Because one thing that I realized was I wasn't the people's type. It's interesting. I left from, and that might be weird, right? But I went from being, I wasn't popular in Cameroon, but I was at least cute.
Right. You're still very cute now. I can't believe nobody invited you.
Nobody. Like I wasn't anybody's type in school. I wasn't the definition of beauty. So that was interesting, like getting zero attention from that perspective. Not being able to have friends. Like I had 2 friends in high school and they both spoke French. One was from Haiti, the other was from Cameroon. Right. And so only being able to pick friends based on the fact that they spoke French.
Right.
It's really interesting. It was really difficult being kind of made fun of because I couldn't speak as well, but also because back in those days, being African wasn't cool. Like there was no Wakanda, there was to America. And so people thought, oh, so you live with elephants. And I got a lot of those questions. So it was very strange, just adjusting. I was struggling to see what the American dream was. Like I was really struggling to understand why my dad thought America was going to be like better. Because I was like, I'm struggling. Somebody help me.
Right.
Finding my bearing was hard.
And, the reason that I bring it up today is because we have immigrants from different places in the world, but every immigrant has a unique story. But I know that watching us today and those that will watch after this live broadcast could be a person who does not know how to speak English, and who does not, besides that, is just finding it very hard to integrate in this society because they have come from a whole different background. How did you overcome to be where you are today? What are some of the mantras that you have that have helped you take you from there to where you are today?
So, first of all, you got to know my dad. My dad is like a no BS. You just gonna better swim. So it was one of those things where there wasn't like, I was more afraid of what my dad would say than being embarrassed, right? And so one of the things he told me when I left was never be afraid to ask a question, right? Because you are going to be bilingual. You are going to know another language. So know that if somebody is making fun of you because you're learning, you already know how to speak a whole other language.
Right.
And more people in America only know one, right? So I walked in as a student. I was clear that I did not know, and I left my ego at the door. And so I was absolutely okay with saying, can you repeat that again? I don't understand it at all. Can you slow down? And then my dad gave me a challenge. We are very much a challenge family because he believes the way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So he gave me one bite. And the one bite that he gave me was, I don't want you to have to take the TOEFL exam. I want you to be able to take regular English when you start high school. It's going to be easier for you. It's going to just make it easier. And so my first goal was to learn English in 90 days, enough so that when I applied, yes, because I had from September to December, and then I started high school in January. Those 3 months, I was learning English. And the goal was for me to pass that exam so that I could be in regular English. That was my father's first bite, period. Do what you got to do. And so that was my focus. And the other thing he said was make friends that speak English. So when I first got there within those 90 days, I went to an English school where you learn how to speak English.
Right.
I did not make friends with any Francophone. Like, it was like, if we're going to be friends, we're going to speak English only. So it was very specific. I had a plan, a small plan, which was, we're going to take the training wheel when we go into high school, period. Right. That was very helpful, I think, because then I learned what I had to learn. I watched everything in English. I rewatched movies that I knew by heart, but in English. I read books that I already knew in French, but in English. Like, it was my whole life was, I'm gonna do this one thing. So if you're watching, my advice is, don't try to become the president of the United States in 3 months, but figure out something that's going to be challenging to you and focus just your whole focus on that. So that's what I did, and I think that's what helped me.
I mean, it's great that you put it that way, and very importantly, what I hear you saying is, even if you're coming to the U.S. at an older age, right, and you don't know something, it's okay to admit what you don't know, and then make a plan to know what you don't know, right? And that is what would take you from step A to B. You wrote a book. And this is a book that I have read. And I was reading this book and texting you at the same time. And saying, what in the world is this woman about? How can someone so write out my hidden thoughts and my feelings? How could she get under my soul like this? The title of the book is Hidden in Plain Sight. Is this part of it? Like, did you ever feel as an immigrant that you were hidden, though you were in plain sight?
Yeah, I did. I did. As an immigrant, as a woman, as an African woman, as a Black woman, I felt like very often I was hidden in plain sight, where people could see me, but they didn't really know me. Right. The first 30 years of my life, I made a career at knowing everything about everybody and nobody really knowing who I was, right? Until I realized that was stopping me. That was the very thing that was stopping me from getting to that next level. But yes, absolutely. You don't speak the language, you are for sure hiding. Not even hiding, not even on purpose. You are dismissed, right? You are you're taking too long to answer a question. People are like, we don't have that kind of patience. people speak on your behalf because they're like, oh, she's the girl that can't quite speak. And so, yes, you hide your thoughts, you hide your emotions. I mean, literally, I couldn't wear red lipstick because because it's too bold. I couldn't do color hair because I couldn't do big hair because I felt like that's you can't hide and stand out. You're gonna have to peek.
That's a paradox. Yeah,
right. So I had decided I was gonna hide. Well, it wasn't a conscious decision, but I had made a life that was really comfortable being the wallpaper, right? And so that was part of the uniform.
and I know that in the book, and I would really encourage everyone to get the book. The link is in the comment section. It's a great book. It was such an eye opener for me, because you may be hiding and not even know that you are hiding. You are just looking for the comfortable path to take. But in that comfortable path, you're hiding because you're not shining at your brightest. At what point in time, what was your epiphany, I should say? What was it that broke through and that you said, enough of the hiding? I'm in plain sight. I will shine bright in plain sight.
So, I think, first of all, my definition of hiding was somebody that is hiding in their house. Initially, if you had asked me this like 6 years ago, I'm like, oh no, hiding means you're hiding in your house. I'm visible, right? I'm actually out for people to see. And so I'm not hiding. And what made me have the epiphany was because I had done a retreat, women's retreat, and it was the best retreat. I think, at least I thought, I was like, this is the best retreat we've ever put together. And I called my mentor who had attended the retreat as a speaker, and I asked her, what do you think of the retreat? I think this is our best one yet. And she said, no. I'm like, what you mean no? And she said, where is Sandra? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm everywhere. I'm on social media. I am posting. I'm everywhere. And she's like, no, you're not. Why am I going to your website, the retreat website, and there's not even an about you page? And at that moment, I realized, oh my gosh. And I said to her, I've been hiding in plain sight. And it literally, when you have those moments where you have chills and this is a destiny moment.
Right.
Like, I just knew at that moment that I had been discovered. It's almost like I was waiting for somebody to see me and realize, like, no, you're not living at your full potential. You might have all these people fooled, but the truth of, I can see you. And so by her acknowledging that she could actually really see me, and it wasn't, and what she was seeing was just not everything.
Right.
Open up an eye, and I had that aha moment. And I was like, and I'm one of those people, and I think for all of us, right? Even people watching, once that switch is on, it's on. You can't see what you're seeing. And so when I saw it, well, what do you want me to do? I can't act like I didn't hear it. That was my aha moment.
And it's interesting that you said this, because I was just watching Steve Harvey's show, one of his, videos, and he mentioned, when he did his first comedy on stage, and after that he had that aha moment, and he went right in and he quit his job. I mean, we'll get into it. Let me not jump too fast. We'll get into that. Let's talk about transitions. Let's talk about, moving from A to B. And the transition that I have to ask you today is, you have a master's degree in psychology from Hood College, and you later on worked as a business analyst. That was a transition. Yeah. How did you go from having a master's in psychology to being a business analyst, and what was it like?
So business is literally my blood. So I'm Bamileke. So for all the 237 people in here, you already know about us.
That's a stereotype, Sandra. That's a stereotype, right?
That's Bamileke in my whole life is doing a business somewhere, right? So put some respect on my tribe name. But it is literally, at least in my family, literally in our blood. Like, if you don't have a business, I had my first side hustle, I was 12. Like, it is almost a requirement for you to carry our name, like my father's name, that you are business minded. Like, that's just the expectation. So I've always loved business. Both of my parents are business owners. And so the idea of even working for somebody was very foreign because I just never saw it. So I always knew I would own my own business, period.
Mhm.
It was like non-negotiable. When I did mental health, I liked it. It was good because I love helping people and I love pouring into people. And so that was really good and was very fulfilling, but I was broke.
Right.
Right? I
That's
was
true.
broke.
Right.
It's not, mental health, unfortunately, does not pay what I think it should. And so it really became a situation of like, we're going to have to transition
Mhm.
because unless you want to get a PhD, which I actually enroll for a PhD. And then I was like, are we going to get a PhD, get more student loans? And what does even the job market look like with a PhD in psychology? I was just like, you know what else can I do? What are the other parts of me that I haven't explored that I really enjoy? And one of the things that I love and always been into and started multiple businesses who failed, but always been in the business world, was business. So the transition to business analyst was super simple once I figured out that that was a thing that was out there. I was like, are you kidding? I've been doing this for free for so many people for so long.
Mhm.
That's a no-brainer, right? And
Right.
so that's my transition over. But the way that happened, let me tell you how that happened.
Tell me.
The way that happened was where I was like, I can do more, I can be more. My husband and I, we went to visit some friends in another town. And I walk into a room, and this might sound controversial. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just honest. But
Yeah.
I walked into a room, and it was about 15 women. And for the first time, I was in a room where I was the least qualified.
Mm.
So they started talking about what they were doing in life, and you had director in pharmacy, and you had nurse practitioner, and this doctor, and that. And this was the first time, because typically in the rooms that I had walked into, not necessarily was I the most successful, but I wasn't the worst.
Right.
Like I had never walked into a room where I was like literally was like, and what do you do? And I was like,
Yeah.
And so when we drove back, I told my husband, I was pissed. I told my husband, I was like, this is ridiculous. I have a whole master's degree, and I was meant to be more than this because I was supposed to be a medical doctor. That's why my dad was the plan, and I decided I wasn't going to do it. My father disowned me, didn't talk
Oh.
to me for 10 years. And so that was kind of like almost a full circle moment, because it felt like being in that room felt almost like my dad was sitting in the corner saying, I
I
told you
told you so.
you should have followed my path, but no, you wanted to follow your own dreams. How did that work out for you?
Mhm.
And in that moment, I was like, oh no, we're done settling. Okay. Like it was that level of anger. And so that forced me into that transition. So Excel, like, and for the people watching, sometimes you are forced into it. I find that like most of the time you are forced into transitioning, right? Because we get comfortable.
Right. I pick out, as you talk, I pick out key things that I would want the audience to gain from. Sometimes we feel that there's just one facet to ourselves, or there's just one thing that we're good at, but we're good at so many things, right? Sandra here expressed that, though she had a master's degree in psychology, she recognized that business has been something that she has done her whole life. While not being content with where she was, she began to evaluate what other areas she knows she has some strength in it. So if point A is not working for you in terms of a career, in terms of, a path that you have chosen, it may be time to reflect, to think on the inside. What else do you have? What are some of the things, the strengths that you exhibit, that that you do, that you can maybe change focus and put some more attention to? Well, thank you for. Are there any other transitions that you have been through in your life that you feel you can share with us?
Everything was a transition. Having my first kid when I was 22, right
Wow.
after being disowned. That was like right at the tail of like my dad being like, "Oh, and you're pregnant." Okay, great. So I was joking 6 months ago. I'm for real. You were disowned, right? I laugh at it now, but that was like a really kind of dark kind of period in my life. But even transitioning into motherhood, that's another transition, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then figuring out who am I now. And I think if anybody watching who is a mom, I find that a lot of the time it's easy to hide behind our kids.
Right.
And it's such a good place to hide because nobody will ever call you out. Because who is going to come and say, well, Ixtel, fine, you have 2 kids, what else? But you could still be doing other things. Nobody, right? So everybody's gonna be like, of course, your mom, you're so busy, you're so overwhelmed. And so it's such a safe place for many of us. And I use that because I have 3 boys. So when I say that, most people are like, that's like having 6 kids. I'm like, no, it's like having 7, right? And so I can use that as an excuse, and I did for a while. So I say that to say that every major thing, like getting married, having children, finishing school, being at a job for 10 years, all of those milestones have the ability to set you back or keep you stuck. So with every new milestone, you want to always ask yourself, like, what's next for me? And maybe what's next is resting, right? Maybe what's next is, you know what, in this season of my life, I'm not taking anything else on. I'm going to discover who I am, what my strengths are. Like you said, the other facets of myself. That is okay too. But you never want to just kind of like be on auto and continue going around the same mountain, because time is precious, right?
Right. And it's glad that, you talked about your kids, because that's the next thing that, I want to know. Many people want to know. Someone, I would not disclose, describe your children this way. Let me read this. She says, Sandra has 3 gorgeous boys, and they are very smart, knowledgeable, well-behaved, curious, business savvy. Went on and on about how well behaved your children are. She went on and on about how intelligent they are, how they're able to hold a conversation. They're so curious, not disrespectful at all, but asking really intelligent questions. That made me curious. I want to know, what are you doing?
Well, listen, first of all, I will be amiss to not shout out the best husband, period, Mr. Andre Kemayou. Everybody calls him Dre.
Dre. Is he watching?
Is he watching?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. But yeah, people will be like, oh yeah, Dre's wife. That's literally how people know me in the community, because he's like such a, I don't know, my husband, you got to know him. But so first of all, I'm not doing it alone. It takes a village. So shout out to the grandmas, the aunties, and everybody that's helping. It literally takes a village. I believe in that fully. And so I have a great partner who we balance each other out. And I don't know, I think with kids it's hard. I think you get your report card when they're like 40 or 50. So I almost feel like it's not quite time for me to get my report card, because the oldest is 12. And so, let's wait 30 more years and see really like how good did we do. So I am blessed though. The kids, they are just the sweetest, and they are nice.
Online. Dre's watching, so we need to pause and say hi, Dre. Thank you so much for being an amazing dad. The recommendation about your kids is amazing, and we're still waiting for Sandra to tell us. We're still waiting.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, it's really a difficult question. I think we try our best. We try our best to raise African kids in a very interesting society. We've been blessed though, I think, with good kids. Like, I have to be honest, I also think, because Ethan, our oldest, even when he was 2 years old, he was the kindest, sweetest soul you could ever meet. So I think that part of it too is that we just kind of got lucky. Knock on wood. But as far as business savvy, I can speak to that, because that's intentional. Ethan started writing business plans like 3 years ago. That was his summer project. He had to come up with a company. He had to create marketing for the company, figure out how he was going to make money, the whole 9 yards. So I'm very intentional on having kids that are going to be owners, and understand that it's important to own and run your own business. So that's something that we are very intentional about, and exposing them. So Ethan literally, does his dad flyers on Canva, is now learning Adobe something video editing tool with his dad. So we want to know their thought. We want them to have critical thinking. So I mean, listen, they're my babies, and we're just kind of proud of them.
Well, I'm still waiting for actionable You can see that I'm not letting go on this question because I'm telling you the recommendation came so highly. Like, we're listening, Sandra. We want to know, what are you giving them to watch? Are you giving them books to read? What is going on?
You know, it's funny because we think that they watch too much TV. That is a daily, and quarantine life is just been a very, if you haven't had the mom trotter on here yet, she needs to come on because she blessed me, because quarantine was like kicking my behind. Because I'm now homeschooling. I'm now like a teacher too. That is not my strength. I can tell you that. But I think we're just working it out. We think they watch too much TV. Personally, what we are intentional about is raising Black boys that are proud of who they are and understand who they are. Like, that is, if there's one thing we are intentional in our household, is telling Black stories.
Oh,
is
wow.
letting them watch African movies.
Oh,
is
wow.
them understanding the African culture. It's catching those things when, like, my son is saying, oh, we learned about Africa, and what we learned was that it's a third world country. Okay, let's discuss what makes a country a third world country. Well, there's poverty. Well, here, let's pull up the poverty level here in Dallas, Texas, right? So, like, we are absolutely intentional in having them understand the beauty of being Black, being African, and where they come from. And yes, and
Wow.
my husband travels with them all the time. Like, he just went with Ethan to Italy, and we just take them with us. Like, we had Ethan when we were young. I was 22. So literally, it's like, let's go. This is the project. Like, I'm doing a membership. Ethan came up with the name of the membership. Ethan is brainstorming with me. We literally just kind of be like, come on.
Oh, that's really good. For those who cannot see this, Dre has left a comment and he says, involve them in the process, make them partners, travel with them. Christine says the kids are well grounded for their ages. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Kudos to you. You know, sometimes as moms, we don't hear this, well enough. But whatever you think you're not doing, you're doing quite a lot. And, it's showing with how the kids are. So kudos to you and God bless you all.
Thank you.
The next topic is the jump. And I have a video that I want, our audience and you as well to watch. And
Okay.
then we will talk about it. Oops.
Person in this world has jumped. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. Eventually, you are going to have to jump. You cannot just exist in this life. You have got to try to live. If you're waking up thinking that there's got to be more to your life than it is, man, believe that it is. But to get to that life, you're going to have to jump.
Okay. You're going to have to jump. And I know that you jumped. You left your business analyst career and went full-time into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
What has your jump been like?
It felt like a very well prepared jump. It felt like a jump that took, I'll say, 10 years. When I was getting ready to finally jump, I had heard myself say it so often. And I don't know if the audience can relate, where you've had this conversation so often with yourself, with other people, that it almost sounds like it's a joke. It's almost like a running joke where people are like, okay, we've heard you say that you're going to write that book, whatever. Right. And so it felt like such a rehearsed conversation that I had to finally really put a date and a time to it. Right. And I gave myself 90 days. It took 4 months. But literally every day I had to go 90. Across, I put 89. Across, 88. I had to put a time and a clock and an appointment for this jump. Because otherwise, it's just a thing that you say you want. And go ahead.
People may not know what a jump is. Just tell them. What is this jump we're talking about?
So for me, it was leaving a very well-paying job that was like 5 miles away from my house. And I could work remotely 2 to 3 days a week from home. I loved who I worked with. It was comfortable. Jumping was moving from comfort to oops, hope we don't crash. But knowing that in my comfort zone there was a cap. I was never going to make 8-figure or 7-figure working that job.
Right.
Period. It wasn't. I don't care if I worked 24 hours a day. There was the limit to what I could do. My name will never be at the door. Period. I don't care what they say. Like I've never had my name at that door. So jumping was living comfort, good insurance, right? A paycheck that shows up on time no matter what, to the unknown, to betting on me, right? And so that was the jump. But before the jump, there's the transition part, right? There's the preparing for it. I am against coaches that tell people you should just jump. You better prepare and have a parachute and prepare and practice your jump. You better just have a plan, especially if you have kids. And we had 3 growing, eating kids with consistent bills. And so I couldn't afford to have that jump having me crash. I had to succeed. And for that to happen, I had to prepare and I had to transition. So yes, you have to jump, but you have to prepare for the jump and put a deadline. That has nothing to do with when I feel ready. When I feel ready, it's not a timeline for a jump. You will never feel ready, but you can be prepared, right? So yes.
And it's an area that you're passionate about. You jumped as a result of passion. You didn't just jump because it's, the money or your name not being in it. You're passionate about being a coach. Yeah. Now, what do you coach people on? What is it that people can come to Sandra to be coached on?
Yes. So I coach aspiring coaches or coaches on how to build successful businesses online, meaning how to make money, right? And so if you're a coach or somebody with expertise, because a lot of people are coaching and they don't consider themselves coaches. They're like, oh, I'm just helping people. People just come to me for advice. Hello, somebody. They're coming to you for advice and they keep coming back. It's because you know something that they don't know, or because you have this thing inside of you that helps people move into action. And that's a thing. And I didn't even know that was a thing because I started coaching when I was 8. But for those of you watching, look at your phone. What do people call you for? Right? People don't call me for food. I can tell you already. I never get those calls for food, but people call me for business. So I've always been that cheerleader for women, always. And so I coach wannabe coaches, current coaches who are not making money online on how to build really successful online coaching businesses.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing because there's a lot of people that need a coach. We had a guest speaker about a month ago who was sharing about her, her success, or let's say her tips towards success. And she said, everyone must have a coach and have a mentor. She said, how important it is to have a coach and to have a mentor. What would you say to that? Because I know you would have a lot more to expatiate on that.
Facts. My business will not be here if it wasn't for the number of coaches that I've hired. You got to invest in your dream. Like, let's just be very clear. The truth of the matter is, because the reason why people don't have coaches is because they're not free. Okay, we all have friends. We ask advice from people. So that's not new. Right? The concept of you should have people that you can ask advice to is not new. We do it already. The concept of paying somebody to give you a blueprint, that is new to our community, right? But the truth of the matter is that you got to invest in your dream. If you wanted to swim, if I have a 5-year-old, if I want my 5-year-old to learn how to swim, I don't get him to watch a YouTube video and say, now go swim.
Right.
I'll never do that because I know you can watch the YouTube video for 30 years and you still don't know how to swim, because until you are in the water, you don't know what you don't know, right? Until you are, and the value of having somebody say, oh, your fingers are open. So you're putting too much effort if you just close your fingers. But if you're in the water, you don't see that your fingers are open. You worry that you're drowning. You worry about so many things. There's so many people right now having businesses and they're drowning and they don't even realize it because they're trying to coach themselves while watching a YouTube video, while trying to be the business. It's not that it's impossible. It is the hard way.
Overwhelming.
So overwhelming. So we need coaches. You need a coach, you need a mentor, and you need to be willing to pay for it. Here's the truth. You're already paying for it. You're paying for coaching and learning in school. I can't even talk about how much money I spent on student loans just to finish and make $15 an hour with a master in psychology. Thousands of dollars. But we're willing to do that. We're willing to spend $50,000, $60,000 on education, but unwilling to spend $10,000, $8,000 to learn how to build our own business. And we have to really sit with that and ask ourselves, what is that about? Whose dream and whose lie have we bought into? Because to me, that doesn't make sense.
Right. That's deep. Now, to someone who is saying, I need a coach, I recognize that I need a coach. What, how do I know where to find that coach?
Well, listen. Well, number one, I'll say, what kind of coach do you need, right? Getting super clear and assessing what you need. Because do you need a life coach? Because right now, you just can't mentally, just from a mindset perspective, you feel stuck. You feel sad. You feel whatever, right? And so you just need your mindset right. Okay, there are mindset coach, that life coaches. Do you need to get your health together? I know great health coaches that are actually in our community that can help you. So don't come to me and tell me, Sandra, the business coach, that I should help you with losing weight. Girl, me and you need the help. So having clarity on what area of your life you need, and really thinking about what's the one thing that if I fix, everything else in my life will come into alignment. Because a lot of the time it's everything that we need help with. Our marriage, our family, our time management is everything. So you want to sit still and ask yourself, what's the one thing? And for some people it's business. For some people it's health. Some people it's mindset. And once you're clear on the type of coach you need, is now going and searching for one. I can be a good resource because I work with so many coaches. It can be overwhelming because if you just go and Google trying to find a coach, that's hard. To be honest, I don't know how somebody that's not in the industry finds a coach, because that's really hard. And there's so many hit and miss. I get so many people on the call that tell me, Sandra, I've joined other coaching programs. I've wasted $20,000. I learned nothing. And that's heartbreaking, right? And so do your research, Google the person, follow them for a while, join their free group, make sure you vibe. Would you have a cup of tea with that person? Do you like that person? Does that person has the life you want, or the business you want, or the health, if it's a health coach, that you want? If they don't, run. Just run.
That's great advice. And I know a lot of people are watching and saying, Sandra, I love your story. I love your resilience and determination to see how far you have come. I would love for you to be my coach. How can they get to you? Or is that even a service you're offering?
Yes, we are absolutely accepting coaches at this point, and there are different ways that people can work with us. The popular way to work with us is through our group coaching program called Map to Clients. It's a 12-week program where we walk you through everything you need to go from, Sandra, I have no idea who I can help. I don't even know what coaching is, all the way to, oh, I just got my first client, right? Just the other day, we had a client, her name is Terry, and she came to us after 30 years of helping people for free. All right. She's in the church. So she was like, Sandra, people will come and say, pray for me. And then I'm coaching them. And when I tell them I charge, they ghost me. She came in. It had been 30 years. She was wondering, can I ever even do this? Is this even the thing where people will ever pay me? Just 2 weeks ago, we had our weekly coaching call, and she's part of Map to Clients. And she said, Sandra, I've gotten in 5 paying clients. She made $6,000 in 7 days, and she's not even done with the program yet. So I'm sharing this to say to you, if you're like, what kind of money can I make as a coach? A lot, right? Once you have the right blueprint. So that's our most popular way for people to work with us. I do one-on-one, but I only take 4 clients a year, and I'm booked at this point for one-on-one. And then we have a membership. Doors for that don't open up until next year. So the best way to get the most traction, the best for your money, is through our Map to Clients program. And the way you get into that is, first thing first, I would love, go on our website, and then you will find what you're seeing there where it's RSVP now. There's a 40 minutes training. It is free for you to watch. that talks to you about how you can start getting clients. So feel free to watch that. I think that's a good place to start, to really decide for yourself, is coaching even a thing that I want to do, right? So you can go and use this free gift. It's still on right now, so go ahead and watch that video. But you can also send us an email, right? You can send me a private message. You can come on our website and send us an email saying, Sandra, I want to schedule a call. I want to see what's possible for me, and we'll love to talk to you.
Oh, that's amazing. So we'll get into the comments before we run out of time. And Wele here says, I was shocked at my first paying client willing to pay thousands of dollars after wasting so many years serving friends and family. You know, sometimes we don't even believe in the value that we offer. You need a coach to wake you up to realize that what you offer is valuable. You know, sometimes we don't, and that would keep us in the shadows for so long. And someone asked this question to you, Sandra, and she says that looking back with everything that you have experienced and that you know, would you have taken the jump?
Oh, yes. Well, which jump?
Leaving a full-time job.
Oh, yeah. Wait, what? Absolutely. There is not even a question about it. Yes, I would, any day of the week. Absolutely, yes, yes, and yes. And if nothing else, I think Corona has made it clear that job security is not quite secure, right? And so I always felt that, but I think now it's even clearer than before. And, you know, listen, if you have to transition and keep your job so your job can sponsor your dreams, people don't realize that. Your job is meant to sponsor your dream. We want people to sponsor us. I'm looking for sponsors. Do you believe enough in that dream that you are investing in that dream? Because I'm not going to be the first sponsor of your dream. Right. If you don't believe enough in it to throw some money, whatever you have, to throw your energy at it, to throw your saving at it, to throw your money at it, you expect a client to be the first one to believe in your dream and pay you for a dream you don't believe in. That's not going to happen. Right? So to answer that question, yes, I'm glad I took the jump for sure, but I'm glad I was prepared for it. More importantly, yes.
Okay. All right. Our last thing on the agenda today is a quote. I'll just tell you what the quote is, and then you tell me what this means to you and how it applies.
Okay.
Happiness is a choice.
Facts. Facts. I believe that. I agree. I think that happiness is definitely a choice, and it's a state of mind. It took me a while to realize that, because I used to be like, y'all are getting on my nerve, or this pissed me off, or this is I can already tell that it's going to be a bad day. No, you are the one bringing the problem in. You are the bad day. And so, yes, it is a choice, and it is a learned habit, because for some of us, we grew up in so much trauma that unhappiness and depression became our norm and our default. And so for some of us, learning how to be happy is the choice we now have to make. And we have to admit, I don't know what that means. I don't even know who I am, and I don't know what I like. And I thought it would be the husband, and I thought it would be the bigger house, and I thought it would be the business, and I thought it would be money. And I'm realizing that at a fundamental level, I am broken, and I don't know what happiness means. For a lot of us, right, it's coming to that place and deciding to stop hiding behind the things on our list. Lists are great, but sometimes we hide behind our to-do list. And what we are all seeking is happiness. And sometimes you do have to put a happiness routine in place. So what is your happiness routine? Because for some of us, we don't just wake up happy. We have to build ourselves up to that place until it becomes a habit.
Right. Well, thank you so much for sharing from your heart. This was a great, awesome conversation. We loved having you here. The link to Sandra's book is in the comment section. Check for it. It's a great book, Hidden in Plain Sight. I loved that book. I read it all in one night. That's how good it was. I sat down and I read it, and tears just kept, flowing out of my eyes, because it was like an awakening to me. Check the book out. It's on Amazon, and her website also. We had that on here a couple minutes ago. I will be dropping the link in the comment section. If you're not a part of our Immigrant Mom group, go ahead and join. It's called the Immigrant Mom Group on Facebook, where we share all the resources that our speakers send to us. We put it out there so you can have access to it and be a part of the community. Wele says, amazing guest. You know, they're so happy to have you, Sandra. Well done, Sandra. All the comments are coming in. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And if I may, Ixel, I want to say before I go that you do such an amazing job. And I've been, we've been in communication for years now, and seeing you step into your purpose and this version of yourself where you're extending yourself and your heart, right, shines through. Like I can tell just from how prepared that this is not just like, oh, I have nothing to do, so I'm just bringing some random people in. Like I can see your heart, and I want you to know that it is not in vain, right? That you will reap, and it will be harvest season for you soon, and to keeping on, and that although people don't always comment in our community and don't always share and don't always come and say it, you are changing lives, right? You are walking in your purpose, and you are changing and transforming lives. And I'm so honored that you thought of me. So please, please, please keep this going, because it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much, Sandra. I appreciate all the kind words. Thank you. All right, guys, until next Thursday, next 2 Thursdays, this has been the Immigrant Mom. Have a great weekend, and God bless us all. Bye.
Bye, everybody.